So in this video I'm going to show you how to make this bralette slash bikini top using a 3.25mm crochet hook and 150g ball of sport weight yarn, which is designed for a 2 to 4mm crochet hook. This is the first pattern that I've ever made up myself, so sorry if it's not very clear, and I've definitely messed up a couple of bits, but do show you how to rectify it as well. Also, I'll put a link to the yarn, which is 100% cotton, in the description below, but it costs about £2.50, so really cheap, and it's really nice quality as well. 100% cotton, so it's good for, you could actually wear this like in a swimming pool if you wanted to, as long as you've got the straps up tight enough for everything, because it can get a little bit wet and kind of sag. But I haven't actually tried this yet, but I've got other bikinis from exactly the same yarn, so yeah, should work. Otherwise just wear it kind of like sunbathing, or as just literally as a bralette underneath your normal clothes, I guess. Okay, so first I'm going to start with making the 2 cups, and these are done with half double crochets. That's the American half double crochet. So I'll just show you how I'll do this, and then you obviously make 2 of them. So start with a slip knot, however you like to do it. I like to do that. Wrap over twice, pull over once, and then pull over completely to give yourself a slip knot. If you need to see any of this again, then just feel free to pause and rewind with whatever you need to see. So I'm going to start by making 14 chains, and this is for a size small, so really a cup size. I don't like to say cup size A, B or C or D or anything like that, because actually it depends on what your back size is. So this is for really a 30C, 32B, 34A. Those are all the same actual breast size. I only know that because I used to work in a bra shop, so you know, saying A, B and C really isn't that helpful. It's got to relate to the back size, but of course the back is adjustable with this. So I need to do 14. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 5, 6, 7, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Now I'm going to half double crochet into the 3rd chain from the hook. So there's 1. So I can't possibly go into the one that's on the hook, it's the next available one. So that's 1, 2, 3. Because what I actually want is to have the 2 chains to count as a half double crochet. So really, whatever this measurement is, this is kind of your measurement from the bottom of your breast to your nipple roughly, but it will change slightly in my stretch out or whatever. But if you keep going round, then that's a good idea to check, and there's lots of videos online about how to make this to your specific cup size. But like I said, I'm just making it for myself. So go into the 3rd chain. So if you don't know what a half double crochet is, then it's wrap around once, in, pull that yarn through, so you've got 3, and then wrap it around again and pull all 3 through, unlike a double crochet where you pull 2 through and then 2 again. So wrap in, pull through, so you've got 3 on the hook, and then pull through all 3. And then I'm going to keep doing that until the end, and I'll meet you there. Okay, so when I finally get down to this last chain, I'm going to continue to half double crochet, but I'm going to do 2 half double crochets first. So yarn over, in, pull through, pull through all 3, and then we're going to do a second half double crochet in the same chain space. And you will notice if you did a slip knot as I did that this is adjustable, it can get bigger and smaller, and that's good because then we can tighten it when we need to. So I've done 2 half double crochets there, and then I'm going to do a chain. So I'm going to wrap and pull through, and that's just 1 chain on its own. And I'm going to do 2 more half double crochets. So 1, 2. And of course I can tighten that up. And I'm still completing row 1 because I'm going to go around, and then every single time after this we're going to go back round again, and a back round, and then a back round again, and keep going. And of course you could just keep adding on depending on your size. But this bit is important. This should roughly be from the bottom of the breast to the nipple here. Width wise isn't necessarily going to be the width of your breast. In fact, it's probably going to leave a bit of a gap on either side to add for the rest of the design. So I've done my 2 half double crochets, chain, 2 half double crochets, and then in the next space I'm going to carry on half double crocheting all the way down. So just to show you, because this can be a little bit tricky to pinpoint, and also to save me from having to wrap this round and thread it through right at the end, I'm going to pull that tight, and then I'm going to half double crochet keeping that tight, and I'm going to half double crochet it into itself. I'm not really sure how to explain that. So wrap it over, pull through, and actually let me just get this out of the way and show you where I'm going to go. So I might need to refocus my camera. Is it focusing? Nope. There we go. Okay, so pull that, and then I'm gonna wrap over, and I'm gonna go into, make sure you're catching both. So that is you catching a chain. You don't want to do this and just have one. You want to make sure you're underneath both of those loops there. And so what I meant with putting this through is pull this quite tight, not like insanely tight, but just enough. So I'm actually going to crochet that in. So I'm going to pull that through and pull through all 3. And again, keeping that tight. And then keep going right down to the end, and I'll meet you back there. Okay, so here I've got 2 more to go, but I just wanted to show you because I always find this bit, well, at least when I was just starting out, I always used to mess this bit up all the time. So can you see that I'm going above, sorry, the light is a bit dodgy in here, above each chain that I did before. So this is the kind of start of the row, and then I'm coming in above every single time. So I've still got this one to go, and then I'm going to count those first 2 chains as a half double crochet. So I also want to work into that as well. You might decide to change it, and you might decide for your pattern you're not going to work into them. Whichever you do, either way is fine. Just be consistent with it. You can't decide that you're going to do it one row and then not do it the other row. You need to just make a decision. Either you're going to stop there and then you're going to start again on your next row and ignore the 2 chains. So I'm going to work into that. That's not my last one yet, but like I said, if you decide that you want to ignore the 2 chains, then you could do that and you could stop there, but I'm going to keep going. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, then just do follow what I'm doing. So I don't want to stop there. I do want to do one more, but this is more awkward. So there's different ways of doing this. I like to go and just go in that way, but I don't want to grab one, I want to grab two, so I want to actually go round. This is a really hard round, so I'm actually grabbing two. So can you see that one is now underneath? I'm actually grabbing the two, pull it through, and I've got 3 on my hook, wrap and pull through all 3. And now is a good time to just check that you've got the even amount of half double crochets there as you do here. So I will check that. And then the next, what you want to do for your next row is you're going to go 2 chains and then turn. I don't think it matters which way you turn your work, but I've just got in a habit of turning it this way. And then we're going to do this literally exactly the same for the next, basically till we've got 7 rows, and every time turning in that chain. So I'll just show you this row. So because I'm counting the 2 chains as a half double crochet, I'm not going to work into this here. I'm going to work into this one because that would be increasing. So these 2 chains are connected to this space here. So I'm going to go into the next stitch. I'm not skipping one. I'm just making it even, but tricky because I'm looking through the camera as well while I'm doing this. So then you're just going to carry on half double crocheting all the way down, and like I've said, you're picking up those. Now it's nice and clear, we can really see that is our chain that we're trying to grab, whereas before remember I said we don't want to go into like just pick up one loop or something. We don't want to pick up one, we want to pick up both. You can sometimes pick up one and that will give you a ribbing effect. It's not like any way of doing it is wrong, it's just not always going to get you the same effect that you want. So we'll go right down towards the end and I'll show you just to remind you what we're doing in that chain space up there. Okay, so I've just got 13 half double crochets so far. I do need 14 before I go into that middle chain. I just wanted to show you. So remember, we're counting those 2 chains as a half double crochet, so that is included when I say 13. And then I'm just showing you bits where I would have got mixed up when I first was starting. So you'll see this is a space that we want to be working into, but there is actually still this chain that we need to go into here. So don't forget that. So wrap over yarn, make sure you go in there, pull through just like you usually would. So if you wanted to double check, then you should have 14 half double crochets, including the 2 chains here now. And now we're going to do the same as what we did in the last row. We're going to do 2 half double crochets, and then we're going to do 1 chain, and then we're going to do 2 half double crochets into that same space still. So in the same chain space there, we've got 2 half double crochets, a chain, and 2 more half double crochets. And then we're just going to continue half double crocheting all the way down. So if you wanted to do a double check, then we know that we've got 14 on that side plus the little thing there, and then we need to have 14 more half double crochets going down. So you can see right there is my half double crochet here. I'm going in above that, and this honestly took me ages to get the hang of. So I'm sorry, this is probably not the most clear, being my first time I've actually videoed this before. So it might not be great for beginners, but if you've made things before, then you might kind of get the hang of it. If you made bikinis before, then it's all kind of the same. Sometimes they're slightly different. Sometimes people use double crochets and half double crochets and single crochets, but this is just the way that I found it's better. I did start actually doing this as a double crochet, but I found that the holes like there were just too big, and if you want it as a bikini, you obviously, it's not like you're going to wear a bra underneath or anything, so was a little bit too revealing, so I thought half double crochets are better, and I suppose you could even go with single crochet, and if you did, do exactly the same, just with a single crochet, but you would just have to do more rows. And again, kind of looks like I'm in the last one, but I'm not. Actually, I don't know what. Something looks a bit weird. Okay, so that is your second row. So you're just going to repeat that, going round and round and round until you have 7 rows. And then I'm going to show you, we're going to do the last 2 rows slightly differently. So just these last 2 here are just slightly different on this middle bit here. And it's actually, if you wanted to speed through, it's 1 half double crochet, chain, 1 half double crochet in the same chain space, rather than 2 double crochet, 2 half double crochet, single chain, and 2 half double crochet again. It's just 1 chain, 1. So I'll meet you back there when we get to that bit. Okay, so I've done my 7 rows and I've just started on, this is the 8th row here. So I've just been working my way up. So now if you wanted to do a double check on your count, I have got 26 half double crochets there, unless I've done something wrong, but it's even on both sides anyway, so not really a big deal. And I'm including those 2 chains in that, so 26. And then here, because I just find that when you lay it flat, it just seems to be getting a bit too pointy around here, so I want to take some of that width out of it. So I've got my chain space ready here. I'm going to now do a half double crochet, and instead of doing 2, I'm going to do just a chain now, and then again I'm going to do into that same chain space a half double crochet. So it hasn't really changed much at all, but I'm only increasing by 2 now rather than 4. So that's all the difference is. So that's row 8, and you just carry on going as you have been doing before, turn back round and do exactly the same for 9. So just the 1 half double crochet, chain, 1 half double crochet in this top chain space here. And then when you've got your 9, then you are done and ready to fasten off, which I'll show you when I'm done doing that. Okay, so I've made obviously my first cup, and then I've tied off the end, and then the second one I'm not going to tie off the end. I'm going to show you the next bit, but just as an example to show you how to tie off the end of that first one, you just want to do 2 chains or even 1 chain, or however you usually do it. Just chop that off here, you know, leave yourself about an inch or so just to thread through later on, and then you pull that through, and you pull that a little bit through and just pull down into a knot, and I'll show you that again when I get round to it at some point in this next bit whenever I tie off. But the second bit you leave on. So I've obviously just done these 2 chains now. So what we're going to do next is we're going to half double crochet all the way along here, and that is going to eventually join up with the other. So essentially what we're going to do is we're going to half double crochet along here and then do some chains to join this up. And now that might depend on your own size, how many chains you want to have here. So I'll talk to that when I get to it, but that's where we're going with it. We're going to be half double crocheting along, chains, and then half double crocheting along here. So just to show you how to do that. So we want the 2 chains, actually I will do them a little bit looser. Again, you know, as usual, I'll count this as a half double crochet, but I'm going along in this direction. So 1, 2, that's just to start me off and get me some height here, and then I'm going to go along here. Now I always find this tricky. I'm only really just getting the hang of it recently, and don't be too particular about it. We're kind of just neatening things up, but my general rule is to pick up 2 pieces of the yarn. So yarn over, and you kind of have to judge roughly, you know, how much space between things. So that one's looking a bit tricky there. I want to pick up 2 bits, so sometimes I'll be able to pick up 1, but rather than me doing, you know, doing a crochet like that, I'm going to turn it around like that. So see that I've got 2 on there. I don't know why, but it just looks a bit better, but it's really not the end of the world. But see, I've done 2 very close together. So if you find, oh, I'm doing it too close together, you're going to get this weird wavy look. So you do want to space them out a bit. I think actually I might go in here next, and that's actually quite an obvious, or is it? It's quite an obvious chain there. I don't really know what's going on. I always find this tricky. If anyone has any tips, please let me know. And it's just awkward. I just hate doing this. You'll find that when you end up coming up this side at another point, that'll be super easy, but it's just evening out this mess basically, but it will look much neater once you've done it. And sometimes even when I get to a bit here, if I really just can't get in, I will just go through like that. But I will try. I can see a bit of a hole there. Okay, so basically half double crochet all the way along here, and then just stop around about there and I'll meet you there. Okay, so I've just half double crocheted along here and got right to the end where I've done my final half double crochet, and then in order to join this up with the other piece, I'm going to do 8 chains. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now this might be, you know, different for everyone, and the way I'm testing it, of course you could put it up to your body, but maybe you're making it for someone else. So I'm comparing it to another bikini that I have, and this is the kind of right position that I like. So but of course this bit isn't going to be here. It doesn't mean I'm going to copy this gap here. I'm going to hold the middle up. So I'm kind of judging by that. Right, sorry, I just had to stop there because my boyfriend just started spraying the conservatory down. So yeah, basically measure that width, but imagine that it is going to stretch a little bit. So if you can see here, I've done 8 chains. There's probably enough for another couple, but I've left those out because I'm imagining that it's going to stretch a little bit, and I'd rather have it a little bit closer together than too far away. So best to be on the safe side. And by the time I do this and come back around, I might actually figure out that, I don't know, it's not the right size or something. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, just try and adjust it like that, and I would recommend just making it a little bit shorter. So once you've figured out how many chains you need, in this case 8 chains, I turned it around that way, so I'm going to turn it around back around that way, and then also this needs to be back around that way as well. It doesn't actually really matter which way around it is, so don't worry about that. And then we're going to half double crochet into the first, well, into here, wherever I can get in really. So half double crochet, so wrap over yarn, and it's really in this first, in these 2 chains that I'd done earlier on, and go in. There we go, and then you just carry on with your half double crochets all the way down to the end, and I'll see you there. Okay, now so that I've got the end to the end of this, I'm going to continue along with chains as to how long I want that to go around my back. So I don't want the bikini top to fit completely around my back, because I'm going to just use some extra to tie it off. So I'm going to go with 6 inches. I've just measured that around so that it's kind of like, say this is my back from, you know, looking from the back. I want it to come around eventually to about here, and then I've got enough to kind of tie it off. And it doesn't matter whether you're wider or narrower. Then if you're a little bit narrower than me, then this should probably fit you fine. So I've just measured like around, if you imagine that this went around and this is where the cups are, that this is 6 inches roughly. But you could, if you wanted to be on the safe side, you could make it 5 inches or even 4 inches, or you don't even have to do this bit if you don't want. You could just continue this on just as a front, and then you can do something completely separate with the straps, or just keep it to a simple chain as a strap if you like. But I just wanted to give it a bit of width and a bit of more support. So I'm going to chain to about 6 inches, and I'll let you know how many chains that is when I'm done. Okay, so I've just done 36 chains from here, and that's about 6 inches, and it's still got a good bit of stretch. So if you think that might be too long, then that's why I said definitely go down an inch or so, but that's going to be plenty for me, hopefully, even if it stretches a little bit. So it'd be nice if it did meet in the middle, but I don't want it to, in case it ends up sort of like overlapping or something. That's what you really don't want. So I'd rather have like a bit of a gap where I can tie it off. So I've done my 36 chains, and then I'm going to tie this off. So I need to chain, actually let me undo that because that one's got a little bit tight. So that's 36. So I'm going to do 2 more, so it's not very clear, 2 more chains. And this is how you tie off your work. Just have to grab my scissors. So just cut again like an inch or so. I'm just marking with my hand. Let me refocus. So I'm just marking out with my finger where those 2 chains are, and then pulling that through, and then I'm literally pulling that down to knot it. It's really not the end of the world if you're out by like a chain or something. It really doesn't matter, even if they're not like perfectly even. A chain is not really going to matter too much. It might affect your pattern a little bit later on, but it's easy to sort out if that's the case. So I've got my one end now, and of course this doesn't have anything. So I'm going to start that next bit by starting the same amount of chains. So whatever amount of chains you had there, so I had 36, I'm now going to do 36 chains. So I've got my slip knot, and then I'm just going to, so I'm starting a new thing, a new piece, and this chain is going to go along, and then we're going to attach it to here eventually. Not quite straight away, we're going to do half double crochet as well. So do your 36 chains, and then I'll meet you back. Okay, so I've done my 36 chains, and now I'm going to turn and half double crochet down, and that is what's going to join onto the bikini. So, and then we're going to continue that half double crochet all the way down. So I'm going to just put my hold my finger here just to keep on with that. I'm going to chain 2, because that's giving me the height for my half double crochet. It's going to go this way, and then into this 3rd chain that I'm holding on to from the hook, I'm going to half double crochet, just like we did at the very beginning when we just started to do the cup. So I'm going to continue all the way down here, and then I'm going to chain 2, with half double crochets all the way down to the last chain, and I'll meet you there. So now I've got to the last chain, and if you've gone that far and you've done a half double crochet there, then just pull that one out and do this. So I'm going in, so I didn't mean to wrap around, in, and I'm going into that first bit here, so the one that doesn't have anything attached to it. This other one has got those chains. And also I just realised, because of what I'm going to do now, so I'm going to make a half double crochet in here, so technically this half double crochet is part of this. So if I go in here, pull through, oh hang on, is that right? Hang on a second, right. Yarn over, in. So yeah, technically I've got too many, so I've got to pull through that, and I've got to pull through that as well. So it's just like I've done a normal half double crochet, yarn over, pull through all three. So this bit here, just kind of tighten that up, and I'm gonna make sure I tuck this into my half double crochet, because I really hate having to tie in those loose ends. It's just like the most unenjoyable thing. So wrap that round and then continue with your half double crochets along. Oh, and also I forgot what I was going to say. I was because this, technically that one that I did there is my 36 half double crochets. Technically I've actually only got 35 across there, so I should have actually done an extra chain, but I didn't, so I have one more chain on this side. So rather than me like undoing everything, I might as well, if I can, just tighten that down one more. Can I? Maybe not. If you can't tighten that down anymore, which I can't, I'm just going to try and remember to just ignore that one. And if it's got like a spare chain at the end, when everything's done, it's really not going to matter. I'll just weave it in. So now I've got up to the end. Technically I haven't actually gone in the last one. It can kind of look like that isn't part of this, but I think it is, and then we should have our 8 chains after that. So I'm going to carry on half double crocheting in there, and then this is going to get really fiddly in a second. But rather than half double crocheting like that, we're going to actually go into each chain and grab 2 loops and leave one, because we are going to later on be, if I show you that way, it might make a bit more sense. We're going to be sort of coming down here and rounding this off and doing something up there. So we do need to be able to go into these stitches, otherwise it's not going to work. So just to show you where I'm going into, although it really doesn't matter as long as you're consistent with what you're doing. So I'm going to go and grab these 2, just like really I have been, but it's really fiddly. So the way I do it is I kind of grab the chain, sorry, not the chain, the one strand of yarn that I don't want, and I go like that. So now I've got the 2 that I do want on there, and then yarn over. And it's, like I said, it's a bit tricky. In fact, I could have done my chains a bit looser down there if I had thought about that. So yeah, you're going to half double crochet all the way down there, and just remember it is 8 chains, and then just carry on half double crochet all the way down there, and then also do the same over there, so that we've got the same on both sides. So when you finally got to the end here, chain 3, and then once you've chained 3, turn your work so that we've now got like that, cups upside down. And then we're working from this side along, and now we're going to do this lacy kind of pattern. So I'm going to do a treble crochet, so wrapping my yarn around twice. Usually we would go into this one here, remember not this one because we're counting this chain as a actually technically a half treble here, because we want a bit of a shorter length and we're going to be going diagonally, so we want to add a little bit more length on. So we wouldn't go in here anyway, we'd usually go in here, but we're going to miss that one and go in here. So for a treble, you're going to pull that through, so now you've got 4 on your hook, wrap over, pull through 2, wrap over, pull through 2 again, and wrap over and pull through 2 again 3 times. So then we're going to do chain 3, and then we're going to do another treble in the same space. So same thing again, wrap over 1, wrap over 2, wrap over 3. So that's what it's looking like at the moment. We're going to end up having another row which is going to slightly pull this a little bit more into shape. And then we're going to want to go over here. We're going to miss 3 because you've got the 3 chains here. It's kind of the same thing, like imagine that you would miss 3 here, and then we're going to go into the 4th. So we're missing 3 and going into this 4th one here. So wrap over 1, wrap over 2, wrap over 3, and then we want to move along there again. So we do the 3 chains, and we're going to keep repeating this now basically. So 3 chains, treble into the same space. I'll just show you on one more time. So treble, missing 3, chain 3, treble into the same, treble, miss 3. So kind of think it as treble, missing 3, chain 3, treble, missing 3, chain 3, treble, missing 3, chain 3. That's how I'm going to kind of think about it and remember it. But you should find that lies pretty flat then, and then we will in the next row be kind of going into these corners and things, so we'll pull it even more into shape. But basically we're going to carry on that all the way down, right until I'll meet you somewhere near the end, and depending on how many chains you've got, you might need to adapt it slightly just to make it kind of even or whatever. So I'm not sure what's going to happen when I get down there, but we'll see. So I've just got to the end here, and I've just finished by doing a half treble, because technically this is still supposed to be, this one is supposed to be kind of slanted. If you think a diagonal is going to be longer than a line that's going completely straight up, vertical line rather than diagonal. So I've made it just that a little bit shorter just to keep it in line with everything else, and that's just simply because I had that just one extra space. If you do have any odd spaces, you could just half treble crochet. And just to remind you of a half, technically I should have gone into the extra one as well, but it just didn't look right, so you kind of just gotta do what looks right, and I am just trying to blag this as I go along. So wrap over the yarn twice, pull through, wrap over, pull through 2, wrap over, pull through 3. So you're not adding that extra bit of height like you would with the treble. And then what we're going to do is we're going to do this very, very similar the other way around, which I'll show you now. So for the next row, I'm going to chain, actually how many do I'm going to chain 3. So 1, 2, 3, like we did before, turn, and then you might need to add an extra chain depending on how far along this is. So how far did you move across? So I've got that extra bit there, so it's like 3. If I show you my diagram, I'm kind of doing this sort of thing. So if I had to go across 2, I would add an extra 2. This is like my 3 chains, and then maybe I'd add on 2. In my case, I've just got the 1 because I did my treble didn't end there. It kind of only did 1 over. I basically just need to add in, so it probably doesn't make any sense, but if you've done the same amount of stitches as me, then add in your 1. But basically I had, if I was coming up from here, I wouldn't add any more than the 3, but I've added in that extra 1, so I'm going to add in 1 more chain. So that might depend on yours, and also just do whatever looks right, really. And then we're going to treble into this, so like wherever your last triangle was. So I'm going to treble into there. So I'm not going in, I'll just show you again, I'm not going to go into a chain, I'm going to go into the actual space, into the actual triangular hole that's there. So I'm going to do a treble, 1, 2, 3. I'm going to do my 3 chains like I was before, and then I'm going to treble into that same space again, not a chain, just a space. So this is when you can just double check that that bit's flat. So it was good that I added in just that extra chain there, or it wouldn't have been quite right. And now, where on the previous row we would have skipped 3, it's kind of that same idea really, because technically there's 3 chains here. So I'm going to treble into the next space there. So I'm going to do a treble, and then my 3 chains, and then my treble again. And then, as you probably guessed, we're just going to literally continue that down the whole way along, and I'll meet you back down at the end. So now I'm at the very end. I kind of want to mirror what I'm seeing below. So this got this diamond shape, and then we need another bit of space here, because remember that I missed a stitch there. So I'm going to chain 1 to represent that missed stitch, and I am just going in. I could go into the actual chain, but I'm just going to go in the middle because it's just easier, and it should still look the same. And then I'm going to do a half treble in there, because remember that I've only got 3 up, so I don't want to give it as much height as a treble crochet. It's just a half treble, and then it should look like that. There is a slight bend, which hopefully will kind of straighten out at some point. At least when you wear it, it will just stretch out. I think it's just because this doesn't stretch out as much as this does. If you know a better way of doing it, I don't know, maybe I've added in too many chains or something, but at least it's all consistent. So if you do have a better way, then please let me know in the comments. So now we're going to do half double crochets, just like we did here, but all the way along the top, just to neaten that side up. So I'm going to chain up 2, and remember how I added in that extra space there. So I'm going to turn, and I'm going to half double crochet just 1 in there. You might have to just kind of play it by how you how it looks really, whether you add another one in, but I think I'm going to leave it as just one. And then, so every time you get to the point of the triangle, if we just flatten that one and have a look here. So every time you get to the point here, you're going to half double crochet in there once. Here you're going to do it 3 times, half double crochet once, 3 times, once, 3 times, once, 3 times. So I'll just show you what I mean. So I'm going to half double crochet in here once, and then in this space here, and I'm going to go into the space rather than the individual chains. It's just easier, but if you wanted to go into the chains then you could, but it's just too fiddly. I feel it's a bit stronger like this, so I'm going 3 times and then once in here, and then that next space 1, 2, 3. Let's see when I let it out now. See there, I'm thinking I could go in with an extra one, but then I did, it was getting to that point where this whole thing was just bending around a little bit too much, so by adding this on, it's gonna bring that tightness back in that top area here and kind of straighten it out, hopefully. So I did want that to be a little bit on the tighter side, and also it's the only the end, so it's the bit that's going to be having all, you know, just tied up at the back, so it's not really a big deal. I'm not really going to be worried if it's going to be out by 1 chain. So do that all the way down to the end. Okay, so I'm now right up to the end where I did a half double crochet into that last triangle space. I didn't go into the individual chain, I just thought it looked better like that, so I've just done 1 in there. And then what I'm going to do is also, if you wanted to add on more length to this, then now would be the time, like whether you wanted it to be more of a halter and you wanted it to, you could just literally keep going back round, do 2 chains and half double crochet, 2 chains, half double crochet, 2 chains, half double crochet, and keep going, or even do double crochet or whatever. If you just wanted to add on some more length, you could even repeat this, just totally up to you, but I'm going to keep it smaller, more like a bralette type thing, so I'm going to leave it there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come round on myself, and I just want to build up some thickness here, so taper it in, and also here as well. I don't want to just have a pattern going around here. I want to actually kind of bring this together somehow. I might leave it as a gap and bring a chain around here. I'm not sure yet. I'm just going to do it and see what it looks like as I go. So I'm going to single crochet because I don't really want to build up anything here in particular. I just kind of want to single crochet around here, and then I'm going to build up more and more. So I'll meet you kind of somewhere around here, and I'll just show you what I mean by single crochet, because we haven't done one of those yet. So I'm going to chain 1, and actually I'm going to single crochet into this space rather than going into each individual chain. So 1, 2, 3, just kind of check what that looks like. Yeah, I don't think I want any more in there. So 3, let's say 3 in each space then. So, what crap am I doing? I think I'm doing half double crochets. I've got so used to doing, sorry, single crochet. So yarn in, pull through. So we've got 2 on the hook, yarn over and pull through. 2, 3, and then straight into that next put through. So we're pulling through, and then we have 2 on the hook rather than 3 like we do with the half double crochet. I don't even know if I did that before. But there we go. So I'm not quite done yet. I've done my 3 in there, and as you can see, there's still some space to go. So I need to do really one more in the corner as much as I can get into that. So I keep going to do a half double because I've been used to doing that now. Pull that through. So now we're kind of here again. I'm going to turn around. So I'm going to chain 1, and I'm going to keep going across here. And this is going to look a bit weird because it's where we basically had that original chain and then we've half double crocheted into it, so it will look a little bit strange. So I'm not going to go in there, I'm going to go in the next one. I don't know if you can see, try and get it to focus. So I do actually want to go into these gaps, if you can see them. There's like these little gaps. So I am actually picking up 2. It just doesn't quite look the same as what all the others look like when we were going around the other part. So just keep single crocheting along, like I said, until we get down to around about there, but I'll let you know how many spaces in just a moment. But yeah, just check your work and just check that looks right. You could always add another single crochet in the corner, but I quite like the curved edge, so I'm going to leave it like that for now and keep going. Okay, so I've stopped 6 spaces from the corner. I'm kind of going to ignore the actual corner. I don't want to work into a corner space. I'm just counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I've been doing my single crochets up until now, and I'm gradually going to increase, and then I'm also going to crochet some together. So right, I'm going to yarn over, I'm going to half double crochet. I'm going to do that 2 times into the next one, half double crochet. And then I'm going to do 2 double crochets. So yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. I'm going to do that again in the next one. Double crochet. So that's 2 half double crochets, 2 double crochets. And now is where, because if you look, if I can't just keep going straight because then I'll just kind of come to a dead end. I want to actually work around like that. So I want 1, 2, 3, 4 to all be 1 stitch whilst increasing at the same time. So whilst increasing in height. So I'm going to do the next up, which is a half treble, but I'm not going to finish it. So I'm going to yarn over twice, go in, pull through. So I've got 4 on the hook. Yarn over, pull through 2. Now normally to finish that off we'd yarn over and pull through. We're not going to, we're going to work into the next one as a treble. So we're going to yarn over twice, go into the next stitch. I really don't know whether to go in there or to go in there or what, so just make it up however you want. So yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Remember, usually I'd yarn over, pull through 2 again, but that's where I'm going to stop. And then I'm on my next side, so I'm on this side now. So I still haven't pulled that through. I've currently got 4 on my hook. So I'm going to yarn over twice. This is where I thought, I don't want to work into a corner. I'm going to find the next chain space I've got. And if it doesn't look right, just undo it afterwards and go back and do it again. So pull that through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, because that's our treble. And now we're going to go and do a half treble in the next one. Yarn over 2, in, out, yarn over 2. And now remember, usually with a half treble we'd yarn over, pull over 3, but now we have, if you just want to check, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 on the hook. and I'm going to yarn over and pull through all 7. Keep this quite taut. Use your left hand to keep this taut. So see how that's creating that shape here, and we've got this nice steady curve, because I'm not trying to do anything too drastic, I'm just trying to smooth it out in a way. So I've done the last one I did was that half treble, so now I want to go back to doing 2 double crochets, double crochet, double crochet, half double crochet, half double crochet. Now I can go back to my single crochets and just show you what that looks like. See how I've just smoothed that out? If we compare it to the other side, it's very kind of overly exaggerated there, and I've just smoothed that out slightly. I could, you know, if you wanted to kind of expand on that further, you could probably do another row and expand it out more. I might even do that later, I don't know, I'll just see how it goes. And then we're going to keep single crocheting up. This is also quite long already. I don't really want to add any more length up here, so I'm going to do some slip stitches around here. It's kind of up to you. I'll show you what I'm going to do. You could just single crochet all the round and I'll meet you around here, but you might want to see where I do some slip stitches here so I don't add any more height. Okay, so here I am at this bit here. So I'm going to keep single crocheting, and I'm going to do 3 slip stitches in total basically. So this is my chain space. This is where I would usually single crochet. I'd usually single crochet there, and I'd usually single crochet there. So those are my top 3. So I've still got 1 more single crochet to go. And then I'm going to slip stitch in here. So slip stitch, you go in, yarn through, but instead of putting the yarn over and going through your loops, you're just going to go through, bring that last one over. So then I'm going to go into the actual space here. Probably going to use this space to add the straps later. And then we go slip stitch there. And then we go back to single crochet, single crochet, single crochet. Probably doesn't look the neatest, but it's just rounded that off slightly without it being like really pointy. I probably could do one less there, I don't know. You've got to imagine that the strap's going to be in there, so it's also giving it a bit of reinforcement as well, so it'd be nice and steady for later. So with my single crochets, I've carried on going down here, and I've left 1, 2, 3, 4 chains from the bottom here. So just here, 4 chains. Wouldn't really matter if you were a chain out or something, as long as you keep the same on both sides. So I've done single crochets. Now I'm going to increase in the length slightly of my stitches. So I'm going to do a half double crochet, then a double crochet. It gets a little bit harder to get in here, and then I'm going to chain across. I've decided to do like a little gap there, and I'm going to chain 3, and I have had to just hold this up and measure it against my body, so it kind of depends what you want, to be honest. Or you could, I don't know, if you didn't want that gap, you could maybe double crochet around, but you'd have to double crochet some together just to bring it together a little bit here. But some of you might want even less chains if you want to bring it a little bit further. It just totally depends on your body shape. And then because we've got 2 chains left here to join up on this side, I want to count up 2 chains and I want to go into this one. So same on the other side. I'm going to double crochet and then half double crochet. Oops. And then keep going with my single crochets. And that is what that is looking like. So keep going with your single crochets. If you want to do the 3 slip stitches at the top just to flatten that out a little bit like I have, then keep going around here. Do the same if you need to rewind and go back to this bit. We're going to do exactly the same there. It's symmetrical on both of these sides, so that should be fine. Then you go all the way down to the end with your single crochets, and if you want to even it out with the other side, you could go with the single crochets there. I don't know if I'm going to bother, I'll see. Right, so now I finished going right down to the end. So we've gone all the way along there, round, and there. And now this is going to potentially be the second to last row now, depending on whether I change my mind or not as I'm going along. But yeah, we're just going to create a nice edging similar to this along here, and then go back round and single crochet. Unless I change my mind, and then really it's just the strap, so you could leave it like that. So we're going to start doing that, and I'd probably say this is one of the easiest bits of this pattern. 2 chains, because I'm going to do them as half double crochets. Turn your work. I'll just turn that in a really weird way. Doesn't really matter. Right, and then so I'm actually going to chain 2 more because I'm going to skip 2 spaces. Sorry, I was probably just doing that off camera. I'm going to skip 2 spaces, so I'm going to actually do 2 chains. So like maybe depending on what number of spaces you've got, you want to change it, I don't know. So skipping 2 and going into this one, I'm going to half double crochet, so I'm pulling 3. This is always a bit of a fiddle here, and then you do 2 chains to skip 2, because usually we just half double crochet in each one, so I'm adding 2 chains, so therefore I'm going to skip 2 spaces, and then I'm going to half double crochet in there. I kind of have to do that bit in 2 stages and literally repeat that. So 2 chains, skip 2, half double crochet. So that bit will look weird for now, but just imagine that once we come back around with a single crochet, it will get pulled up again. So that's going to make a nice edging to go around the top. It's not as complicated as that, and it's not as full on as this, because this is kind of the main feature, but it's just going to be a little bit just to kind of balance it out a little bit more. But we might do it slightly differently when we get to the curves. So keep going down here, and when you get down to this bit, all I did was I did a half double crochet there, chain 2 like normal, but instead of skipping 2, I skipped 3, because think about that, it's going to be you want less chains overall here than here, so you basically just want to minimize it as much as possible. So yeah, skip 3 chains or whatever looks right to you with whatever yarn you're using. And so once I've come around and I've got to the top here, I've done the opposite. So I've done my normal 2 chains, but instead of skipping 2, I skipped only 1. And I did my half double crochet, and then I did 2 chains, and I did skip 1 and did that. You kind of just need to play it by ear. Also, I've realised that that is looking very wonky. Kind of looks okay if I do that, but if I do that, it looks dodgy. So I'm going to have to sort that out when I get down there. So I'll show you how I managed to figure out how to do that, hopefully. Okay, so I've carried that on down to here, and now I've got this wonkiness bit, so I kind of want to work into there. I don't know how I messed it up, but basically you'd really want to just do 2 or 3 half double crochets along here and then carry on with what you were doing. But if you've messed up like mine, then I am going to double crochet in here, which is probably where I should have done it in the first place. So double crochet, because I want it to be a bit longer. And then I'm gonna half double crochet. 1, 2, and again you kind of need to just keep trying it on really and just making sure that it's right. I feel like I should just do 2 there, and then I'm gonna half double crochet into here, so into the actual chain, then not into that space, because I was just going into this middle space here. So half double crochet, and then I'm going to carry on with my chain 2, and then half double crochet in missing 2 spaces, and basically just carry on with that exactly the same as you have been doing all the way along, right down to the end. Okay, so I've just got to the end now. I don't know whether to go into the last stitch or not. Yeah, I probably will. But you'll notice that the cups are starting to curl around a little bit now, which is, you know, fitting to the size. But if you wanted it to be flatter, then you would have had to, you know, add a couple of chains in the top there. It's just where this bit is folding around. Well, technically all this bit should be straight, but because we're increasing, of course, well, we should be increasing if we want something to lie flat, but we're not, so it's got this curve. So that is okay with me, but yeah, if you wanted to add some more chains in to make it flatter, depends what your shape is. So I'm just at the end here with my single crochet. Actually, I don't know whether to go into that bit or not. Yeah, I think I will. I'll just do one more single crochet. I really don't care if they're even on each side, absolutely perfectly. Just needs to look right. Quite often I'm just flattening this out and just double checking that it actually looks alright. Okay, so, and also remember this other end that I'm going to end up coming back to. Remember how I didn't have that single crochet running down there, but once I go around this with a single crochet, I will actually be able to manage to finish off there, and then that will be completely the end of the top. I don't think I'm going to do any more. So I will show you this, and this will really bring out that last row that I've just done. So let me just refocus. And so we're going to single crochet. So chain, turn, and then we are going to single crochet just in there just to start me off. And now because I've got 2 chains and then the half double, 2 chains, half double, rather than me going single crochet, single crochet, and then going in here, I'm just going to go in there again. So in each of these gaps, I'm going to do 3 single crochets. Can you see how now that has, that's what it was looking like before, and then this has really just brought out that pattern a little bit more. So I'm going to keep doing that, but I will just update you if I've done anything slightly different on where I turn around corners and things. So I'm basically done now. So I carried on with, you know, the 3 single crochets in each of these spaces, and then when I got to the corner, I can't remember which one it was, I think it was that, yeah, that one, I just did 2 single crochets and then 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, carried on round, and then around here I added, so I did 4, 4, 4, 4. I don't know why I did it like that. It would have probably made more sense if I just did the top 3 there, so 1, 2, 3, and did 4, 4, 4. And I can use this, it just happens to be in the middle, but if it wasn't, like if you've done it probably correctly and not messed up or whatever, then you can attach your straps kind of in there, like just whatever looks like it's in the middle, and do it on the same side. So I expanded it there, and then when I got to here, I can't quite remember, I did what did I do? I can't remember. Oh, I did single crochet. That's it, I just did 2 there, 2 single crochets there, and then I single crocheted 2 together because I thought it would be too many, so I single crocheted 2 together. Very much like when we did the this bit here where we crocheted everything together in one, so you kind of start to do a single crochet but you don't finish it, then you start to do another, and then you wrap it over and put it through. And yeah, it's just the same on the other side. And then when I did get to the end here, I did manage to single crochet, so just rewind back if you can't remember how to do that. When we single crocheted in here, we went into the spaces and so on. So yeah, now I need to do the straps. Actually, I just thought I'd show you how to tie this off. You might actually want to carry this on and have this as a strap, like just totally depends how you want to do it. And by the way, I've only got one piece that I actually need to tie in there, and then I will have to do this. So just chain 2. Keep leaving my scissors everywhere. And then cut, put it through and put it down. It's just a bit more secure than just having one chain, but you can do it like that. It's a bit easier to go back if you need to. Now for the straps, you could just attach here and just do just a single chain going along if you wanted to, as long as you want. I'm going to do it slightly differently. I'm going to use do it as a plait like this other one, and this is Amanda Love Santos's pattern, which is really nice, which has obviously kind of helped me do this because it's similar, not quite the same, but yeah, and she always does these nice plaits rather than just doing a single chain. I just find them a bit sturdier, so I'm going to do that as well. So for the straps, I've already done 1 here, so there's only going to be 2 in total, but you could do another 2 if you want to type up a different way. This is how I'm going to do it. Luckily in the middle here, so I've got 110 inches, 3 pieces, and I'm going to go through this here, and that's just that like blatant hole, so can't really miss it. Luckily mine was in the middle, but otherwise you might want to change it. And then you need to obviously get that to the centre, and then get your, divide it into 3 pieces, so you've got 2 on each, and then you're going to plait. And I recommend separating them out first because this is going to get really knotted if you don't think about it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then I take that right one and I pull it out, and these will naturally kind of fall apart. And if you keep it like that to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, pull that right one, always, as long as you get that right, then it should be easy to unravel. I had to learn that the hard way from messing it up loads of times. So yeah, basically you do that and you tie a knot at the bottom. Also weigh this down with something, or like tape it down or whatever, just so that it gets out of your way and makes it a bit more manageable. And so this is the finished thing. So what I did was I took that strap from over there and I decided to crisscross at the back like this, so it goes crisscross, and then here Probably looks a bit confusing. I've just put it into the 2, 3, 4, 5th one along, and then I've weaved it in and out of those holes there. I tied it there and then I just kind of zigzagged around, but you can pretty much do whatever you like. You could even just keep this as a halter and tie that up, and then maybe get 2 extra pieces to tie separately, so you have tie there and tie there. It's up to you.